are you? I am Sage. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time. I can't put my computer to sleep so that you don't hear it because I am currently, hang on, I am currently processing a video I just did in my video editor, so if I put it to sleep, it stops that, and it's a long process. Sorry. What are we going to talk about today? I'm sure you already know. It's in the title. I'm going to do another YouTube Pagan, ABCs of Paganism YouTube challenge. There we go. This month for March, it is the letters E and F. I don't know what I'm doing for F yet. I have a lot of things I could do it on. I have some things written down over here. For E, I decided to do it on Esbats, as you can see. So what's an Esbat? Alright, well, you've probably heard of Sabbats or Sabbats, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And those follow the sun, the seasons, right? The way, well, it's not really following the sun because the sun doesn't move, but basically where the sun is in relation to us. You know, and it's different from northern to southern hemisphere because of that. And it basically just follows the seasons, right? There's eight. Yeah, that's right. It's about 6 weeks between each one, right? Why do I feel like I'm doubting myself? Probably because I don't pay much attention to them. Really, all I pay attention to is Halloween or Samhain. And then the equinoxes and solstices. That's about it. I don't even really pay attention to Yule much. I have heard people say that the Sabbats are Wiccan, but that's not right, because it's based on like old stuff, like when is harvest season, when, you know, all of that shit. So, people are wrong. Anyway, and I know a lot of non-Wiccan pagan and witches that celebrate the Sabbats. So the Sabbats are related to the sun, right? Esbats are related to the moon. It's basically following the cycles of the moon. Specifically, Esbats are considered the dates of full moons and the dates of new moons, okay? Depending on the month, you might have one of each. Both January and March of this year actually have one new moon and 2 full moons. February of this year only had a new moon. There was no full moons. And the reason for that is because a full moon cycle. So, from full moon to full moon, averages 29.5 days, approximately, okay? So it doesn't line up with our months. It's like 29.5 days. So that's longer than the month of February, hence why we ended up with no full moon this year. And it's less than our like 31-day months. It's enough less that sometimes you end up with 2 full moons. I don't think you really ever end up with 2 full moons on a 30-day month, but I could be wrong. It's only 1 day difference. I don't know. So when we have 2 full moons in a month, the second one is considered a blue moon. That's fun. So Esbats are basically just following the cycles of the moon, really. And you might do like a ritual based on it or spell work based on it. I am much more in tune with the moon than I am the sun. But I'm still not that good about the Esbats and what to do. So let's talk about the phases of the moon and what kind of magical workings work best. So let's start at full moon. You have your full moon, and then about 2 weeks later, you have your new moon. Between those two, the moon is waning. It's getting smaller and smaller. The visible portion of it is getting smaller and smaller, right? So as the moon's getting smaller and smaller, that is a great time to do like banishing and releasing magic. So let's say you want to release some old habits. You want to banish someone from your life. You want to, you know, you're working on self improvement, and you know, you found like, I tend to not have very much self-confidence. You know, let me just banish or release that from myself. Release things that don't serve you anymore. Release things that aren't true. Release the stories we tell ourselves that aren't true. So that waning period, when the moon, visual part of the moon that we can see in the sky is getting smaller, is a great time for that. The new moon itself is also good for that. New moon is a really powerful time for that kind of thing. My sort of favorite thing to do for new moon is to write down the things I want to release and burn it. When it comes to the new moon, I like to call on the goddess Nyx, because I work with her a lot anyway, and she is the personification of night in Greek mythology. In the full moon, I like to call on the goddess Selene, who is the moon goddess in Greek mythology. So once we've hit new moon, now we're transitioning to full moon, right? I feel like I have an eyelash in my eye. Sorry. So that period between new and full, the part of the moon we can see is getting larger and larger, right? So it's gaining, it's waxing is what it's called. I never knew what waxing meant. Like, waning made sense to me because I know what wane means, you know, for something to wane, but I was like, wax? What does that mean? So waxing is when it's getting more, it's appearing more. I keep wanting to say like it's getting bigger, but that's not what it is. The moon isn't changing size. It's just the portion of it we can see is getting larger and larger, right? So that's when it's waxing. Now if you think about this, you can think about it like growth. So the waxing moon is a great time to bring stuff in. So if you want to manifest something, if you want to manifest money, if you want to manifest your soulmate, or your twin flame, if you believe in those things, or just love in general. If you want to manifest a new job, a new car, you know, whatever you may want to manifest. The time of waxing is a great time to call stuff in. What is it that you're desiring? And the full moon is awesome for that as well. Very powerful. Now, there's two schools of thought on this. I almost yawned. Wait. Oh, I stopped the yawn. Ha! I win. So there's two schools of thought on this. There are people that always time their magical workings with the moon. And there are those that say it's not necessary to do that. It just, like, it might be even more powerful if you time it with the moon, okay? So don't think that you absolutely have to. Now, there are more nuances to this. And I wasn't prepared to have it pulled up. So give me just a second. Just a second. While I'm pulling this up, let's talk about the astrology part of it too. So the moon moves through each sign, right? It spends about 2 to 2.5 days in each sign, and the sign it's in can also impact your magic. Now, again, my feeling on it is it's not required, you know? Because you could get real crazy. You could be like, okay, so for this spell to work, I need to do it on a Tuesday in the 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. hour when the moon is waxing, and it has to be Pisces season, and the moon needs to be in, like, you see what I mean? Like, it can get crazy. Because you can find correspondences for the hours of the day, the days of the week, for what magic you should perform. I say, do what feels right to you. So, like, if you're really in tune with the moon, then you might want to time your magic with the phases of the moon, right? if like the days of the week really call to you, well, then like Friday is a good day for love and things like that, right? I have so many things that give me information on the phases of the moon and the magic, and yet, of course, when I'm trying to pull one up quickly, it's not a thing. I don't like that one. Anyway, so my take on it is, you know, what system feels right to you. You don't need to combine everything. You know, you might have to wait 3 months to do your spell then, right? Like, that's not good. That's not helpful to you, right? If you have to just keep putting your spell off forever to get that exact right time. Yeah, that's not helpful to anyone. Don't worry about it. What am I? That's not right. Ugh. I apologize for the inconvenience of me not actually having it pulled up. I thought of pulling it up, and then I was like, nah, it's fine. I'm not gonna get that detailed. And then now I'm like, yeah. Moon magic. Okay, so like here's one that gives some good examples. It says the full moon is the full moon's really good for almost anything. But it suggests love magic, charging, healing, banishing, and cleansing are fine during that time too, and clarity. A waning gibbous, which is when it's a crescent moon while waning. Relinquishing, undoing bindings, cleansing, undoing curses. The last quarter, so it's about half, but still waning. Breaking bad habits, relinquishing and breaking curses, banishing. The waning crescent, so it's still just a crescent, but it's almost a new moon at this point. Balance, success, attaining wisdom, atonement, and illness. The actual new moon, destructive magic, curses, banishing, soul searching, divination. That's another good one. I do divination every day though. Waxing crescent, so you can only see a sliver of it, but it's on its way to getting bigger. Constructive magic, attraction, wealth, success, love, luck, and friendship. First quarter, so we have half of moon, but it's still waxing. Creativity, divination, motivation, calming, strength, and growing. Waxing gibbous, which is where most of the moon is showing. It's getting to full. Motivation, attraction, success, and good health. So, but again, I still feel like I have a thing here. Ugh. Again, you don't have to do it that way. And everyone has their own ideas. Like, here's a different one. New moon is good for new beginnings, new relationships, new adventures, positive changes. It's a good time to set intentions. And that makes perfect sense, because starting the next day, it's waxing, basically, right? Waxing is growth, learning, creativity, healing, and transformation. Full moon is like wishes, spell work, cleansing, protection. Waning is letting go, cleansing, release, and opening up. You don't have to hold tight to those. Also, if there is something you want to do on the full moon or new moon, don't freak out if you miss the day. It's usually accepted, and go on your own feeling on this, but it is usually accepted that you can use the energy of the full and new moons up to 3 days before and 3 days after, okay? So, like, if you forgot the new moon was, but we have a new moon on the 17th. If, you know, the 17th comes and goes and you forgot it was a new moon, I keep having to take drinks. That's okay. You can do your new moon working the next day, okay? So don't feel like really pressured, like I have to do it today and run around like crazy to make sure you're doing it. So, that's really all there is to Esbat, is following the phases of the moon and doing your magic by the moon. I basically just try to stick to waxing, waning, new, and full. So if I want to release something, I'm going to try to do it during the waning moon or the new moon. If I'm trying to call something in or manifest something, I'm going to try to do it during a waxing moon or a full moon. That's really all I put into it. I don't get much deeper than that because I don't see much reason to get deeper than that. Yeah. When I do my moon rituals, like I said, I personally work with Nyx if it's a waning new moon or new moon, and I work with Selene if it's a waxing or a full moon, usually. There are tons of websites and apps on your phone, okay? I'm going to show you. I actually have multiple moon apps, and I don't know why. I have, like, they all have different features. Okay, so here's the ones I have. Let me try to turn that. So I have 4. I have an Android. I have one called Phases of the Moon, one called Lunar Phase, one called Daff Moon, D-A-F-F, and then one just called Moon. So if I go into Phases of the Moon, so here's what it is right now. So March 13th at 10 p.m. It gives me the moon rise and set time. It shows me what it looks like. Currently it's a waxing crescent, how much is illuminated, how far away it is, how old it is. This moon is currently 26 days old. We do have a new moon coming, and it's currently in Aquarius. And you can like slide the moon around and like change it. So now I'm on Sunday, March 25th. It'll be in Cancer on that day. So this is a good one. Lunar Phase basically is going to tell you all the phases and when they're coming. So like here we have waning crescent. That's the current. The next new moon, it says, is March 17th. The next full moon, it says, is March 31st. And then the next sort of phase is third quarter on April 8th. So, and you can also go to the calendar and see just like a full calendar. What's the next one? Daff Moon. It looks really similar to the first one, to be honest. It shows you what the moon looks like, tells you what it is, rising, setting, how old it is, it's in Aquarius, maybe. Wow, you can even see really detailed information. But you can also look at the sun and see where it's at, Pisces. You can look at all the other planets with this app. Let's see. That's about, I mean, you can look at the orbits of each of the planets. I mean, I don't know why you need that one, but that's cool. It's there. So this one has a lot of interesting stuff the others don't have. Like it has the planets and the sun. And then last, we have the one just called Moon. There you go. It's literally the moon. You can change the date by hitting date, or you can hit info, and there's where it tells you it is 12% waning, and it just really simply tells you the new moon is in 2 days, the full moon's in 16 days. So they all have their own little capabilities. My background of my phone, by the way, is the moon. The stars actually move if you look. It came with the Moon Phase app, I believe, if I remember right. I don't know how these work with iPhone because I have an Android. I don't know if all of them are available on Apple or not. But those are the moon apps I have. I also use a website called Lunarium. It's www.lunarium.co.uk. You can see the entire calendar. You can set it to your location because when the moon hits its phases, it's going to differ by location. Like the last full moon we had on March 1st was March 1st or 2nd, depending on where in the world you were. So it gives you a full calendar for the month. It gives you when it's going to be in various astrological signs, new moon, full moon. It even goes into like void, of course. I don't know what the hell that even means, but it goes into it. It goes into a lot of stuff. So it tells you when eclipses are and all of that. So Esbat, it's all about the moon, baby. Alright, if you have any questions, I may or may not have answers, but feel free to ask, and I'll see what I can do to find the answer if I don't know it. I still don't know what I'm going to do F as, but like I said, I got a list of options. I know some people have already done it on fire. I was thinking about doing it on fire, because that's kind of my go-to for spells. And oh look, candle. This candle smells like vanilla. Smells so good. I love vanilla. Alright, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe if you have not already. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I love reading comments. I will see you in my next video. Thank you.